What's cracking? Everybody, it's Florges here, bringing you Pokemon Go Battle League content as usual. And in today's video, we're following up yesterday's video. The Season of Light update blog post was yesterday. Now today, we're going to go through every single move update and new move in the game. Going to check them all out, break them all down, and go step by step in depth. And there's timestamps in the description, so you can jump to whatever Pokemon you're interested in checking out or what move you're checking out. But that's basically going to be the gist of this video. It's going to be a long one, so if you're strapped in, ready for all the info, you're in the right place. So right off the bat, we've got two new moves in this season. We've got Double Kick, which is essentially a Hex clone, 3 turns. I think it's what, 13 energy? We'll check PvP Poke real quick. It's up there. 12 energy and 8 damage. So it's Hex plus 2 damage. And Fairy Wind is going to be a Mudshot Psycho Cut clone. So that's pretty good. That's actually pretty awesome. Now, spoiler, this is the second time I've recorded this video. Yesterday I tried to record a whole hour's worth and then they dropped all of the actual numbers on us. So I'm like, I guess I might as well start over again. But anyway, so we've got Zap Cannon is getting an update. It's getting a nerf. Registeel is getting a nerf. It's not a big one though. So essentially the only thing that Zap Cannon is changing is it's instead of a guaranteed attack drop, it's going from 100% to 66%. It doesn't really make a difference. Why don't they just make it 50% like the main series games? I don't know. But Icicle Spear has gone from 35 to 40 energy. So essentially in real battles, you're going to see Icicle Spear be every 5 Powder Snows instead of 5-4, 5-4. Now it's 5-5, 5-5. So that's going to be a little bit... I mean, Walreign's still going to be meta, but it's not going to be as stupid spammy. And it's going to be just a little bit slower. Rollout had its energy generation decreased by 1, so it went from, I believe, 14 to 13, which makes it a Snarl clone or something close to it. Ancient Power, Ominous Wind, and Silver Wind. These actually say power, but the actual moves have been dumped up to 60 energy, I believe, not 60 power. So the attack and defense increase amount goes from 2 stages down to 1 stage. So that's what I understand from the Pokeminers post that came up. Check them out on Twitter, by the way. Shout out to Pokeminers for getting all the information out to the public as quickly as possible. They make all this kind of content possible for us. But yeah, so they basically nerfed the Ancient Power, Ominous Wind, and Silver Wind to make sure that they weren't as busted as they were. And Quick Attack and Tackle are getting energy buffs. So Quick Attack now becomes a Powder Snow or Karate Chop clone, which are really good fast moves. Walrein has has a Powder Snow, so then we know that's a good fast move. Tackle has now become a Lick / Water Gun clone, so it's essentially giving, I believe, 3 energy, right? It's going to give 3 energy. It's got currently only gives 2 energy. It's going to give 3, so basically it just gives it 1 more. So Lick, for example, Lick is 3/3, so that's basically what Tackle is going to be now. It's a Lick clone. So anything that has Tackle actually got a decent buff. It's not bad. So we're gonna jump now over to PvP Poke and check out everything that gets these moves, right? So let's start off at the top here with Zap Cannon. Like I said, guys, this is not going to be a short video, so use those timestamps in the description if you want to check out something specific. But we're going to go with Zap Cannon. What gets Zap Cannon, right? Registeel, Regirock. I think maybe Regice gets it too, but Magnezone, Zapdos, which you don't usually run it on Zapdos. Magneton, Kling Klang, nobody's running Kling Klang. Magneton, again, Ampharos is on that list. Porygon 2 is on that list. And then there's things like Jolteon, Porygon Z, Clang. So most of the stuff's irrelevant, right? Registeel is going to be the only thing that really uses it. Regirock will use it in some very specific metas, like maybe Celestial if you're into factions. Magnezone and Magneton would use it in like a Mimi sort of situation. Magneton actually could pull it off. He's got Thundershock, but Zapdos never runs it. It just has Thunderbolt. And you've got Ampharos, which usually runs Thunder Punch, Focus Blast, but I've seen some run the spicy Zap Cannon. But so essentially you're just losing the guaranteed attack buff or debuff, which makes some of the matchups more reliably not terrible, but Registeel's still going to be stupid. Even if it's only debuffing 2/3 of the time, it's still stupid. We don't need to really talk about Walrein. Walrein, again, so remember, PvP Poke has not updated as of this recording, so I can't go into the sims of the current stuff. So when that updates, it'll be Thursday evening for those of you in the North America time zones anyway. that stuff will be updated live shortly after the season goes live. You can check out the exact sims and everything, but basically, you know, Walrein is a little slower. That's fine. So let's check out the things that get affected by the Ominous Wind, Ancient Power, because Ancient Power, forgot my @ sign there, Ancient Power. So a lot of things get it, but nothing's really going to use it. Like everything that already has it already kind of has a better move than Ancient Power, so we're not really gonna, you know, worry too much about it. And the only things that really would use it, maybe you might see a Togekiss that runs it pretty regularly, Aurorus, maybe, Tangrowth, maybe, Articuno's not going to run it, Galarian Zapdos probably runs it if it's not running the double nuke set, but that's fine. Ominous Wind is next up here. Ominous Wind, so like Golbat, Drifblim, Spiritomb, Drifloon, like these are all Pokemon that have better moves than Ominous Wind, so we're not really worried about that. Somebody's upsetty. Silver Wind is something that the buffed Ledian gets, Venomoth gets it, Levani, so again, most like completely irrelevant things, and it's a side, you know, since the information we were given from the blog and the information we were given from Pokemoners is actually not consistent, I don't know what to trust right now, so I'm gonna leave it and wait till see what happens. So so what gets Tackle, right? So what's gonna get Tackle? That's gonna be a pretty crazy buff for things like Munchlax is gonna be pretty interesting. There you go, Upstage. Cutie butt. Greedent is another one that's probably going to benefit from getting a stab tackle. That's, I mean, it's already got body slam and crunch. It's pretty spammy already, so that's going to be something that gets really interesting. But for the most part, like other things that get tackle probably have a better fast move already. Litleo might benefit from this, as it is a normal type. You look mostly for the stuff that is normal type. Now, one thing that I will highlight here, because this is only going to show us Great League, Master League, Xerneas gets Tackle, and if you buff Tackle, suddenly Xerneas becomes very interesting because it's got close combat, it's got Moonblast, it's got nothing but nukes, but man, though you're going to get shields for sure with that thing. There's no chance you don't get shields. Unfortunately, it doesn't learn the new Fairy Wind move or anything, but
Okay, here.
All right. Come on over, you little insomniac. All right, so now we're gonna go into Quick Attack. So Quick Attack is interesting and for a few things. Now, Quick Attack, you know, like here we go. Meloetta in Master League is gonna be really good, but good luck getting all the XL candy to run Meloetta in Open Master League. And if you already have it, good for you. I don't know how you got it, but you do you, right? With some other interesting things that could trickle down into the lower leagues that we'll get to in a sec here, because I'm going to drop this back down to Great League so that we can see more stuff. So again, like Sylveon getting it is kind of interesting because it makes it so that it has something that's not Charm, has some energy gain, right? Raticate's definitely buffed from this because it already runs Quick Attack anyway in the like Kanto Cups and stuff that it's in. Victini is going to be very interesting in some limited metas this season, I think, with Quick Attack as well. So look out for that, like the Willpower Cup maybe, or even the Psychic Cup. Those could be some very interesting metas for a Victini with Quick Attack. But aside from that, like Quick Attack really doesn't, I mean, it affects a lot of things on this list, but it doesn't really make them good, right? Like Diggersby already has Mud Shot. You don't want Quick Attack on it, really. I mean, you could. It's stab and it does more damage, but it's not going to do super effective damage to really literally anything. So, you know, you take that with what you will. But, you know, Staraptor's already got Gust. Like, you know, most of this stuff has a good fast move already. You're not going to be using Quick Attack in place of most of this stuff. So, what else did we miss here? Rollout is coming to Miltank and Dunsparce, and we'll talk about them specifically later on. But that looks like it's going to cover all of the movesets. So we're going to move now into the brand new moves that are being added to Pokemon, like Nidorina, Nidorino, Dragonair, and Haunter. So this first group that I've got here, this is specifically going to be the Pokemon that were given moves for the Evolution Cup. Now, if you're not already aware, the Evolution Cup is any Pokemon that has already evolved and can evolve again. So middle stage Pokemon, like these guys. So Nidorina got Thunderbolt. Now, Thunderbolt's a good coverage move for things like flyers, maybe steals that would come in against the Nidorina, except for Stunfisk, because that's just a hard wall. But most people that are running Nidorina probably have a purified one with return. Honestly, that's probably the better moveset, kind of like how Sableye has that return for the nuke. It's just typically, it's a neutral hard-hitting move that is going to be able to help flip matchups, especially after a Poison Fang or two have affected the matchup. Now, we're still going to look at it real quick here because Thunderbolt is worth taking a look at. And the way we're going to do this, we'll use the Battle Matrix. We could either use Multi or Matrix. I'd like using the new Matrix simulator personally because what that allows us to do, thanks to the hard work, Matt PvPoke, he essentially added this system that allows us to see the differences at a glance rather than having to go and search for them all. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at Nidorina in the Great League here with both return and with the Thunderbolt. Now, again, this is probably going to be something that affects more so in the Evolution Cup, so we won't be worried too much about everything in this meta because most people don't run Nidorina except for Spice, if I'm honest. So take a look at the maximum stat product Pokemon here. We're going to drop this down and we will see that Nidorina with Thunderbolt gains some matchups here like Jellicent, Mew, Pelipper, and Vigoroth, which are interesting and good to have. And at least one of these, being Vigoroth, is in the Evolution Cup. So that's going to be kind of an interesting pickup there. But you do drop Cresselia, Mandibuzz, Toxicroak, Venusaur, and Walrein, which are definitely going to be more likely to be seen in Open Great League. So if you're running an XL Nidorina, and you've already got one with Return, I probably wouldn't TM away Return for Thunderbolt. You could run the Return and Thunderbolt moveset, but that's probably not ideal because Poison Fang is just too good of a move not to use. So Nidorino. Let's talk about Nidorino. First of all, Nidorino's stats are really bad. So that's essentially like, it's got Poison Jab, Poison Sting. So it's got a decent set of moves, right? But problem with Nidorino and even Nidoking, which we'll talk about too in a sec here, is that it just doesn't have the moves. It has lots of nukes and nothing that's really energy efficient. And its fast moves, Poison Sting and Poison Jab are excellent fast moves, but unfortunately they're just not going to be enough to deal with stuff. And look, just by getting Ice Beam, the only thing you gain is Altaria, which is okay. But you lose Shadow Machamp, Mew, Ninetales, Shadow. You also lose Vigoroth and Shadow Walrein. So those are all things that Nidorino normally might be able to beat. You are so sleepy. I can see your eyes just trying to close right now. I see you, smiley butt. You're so weird. But the Ice Beam obviously allows it to pretty much one-shot an Altaria, but you're not going to see Altaria in Evolution Cup, so I wouldn't worry about that either. Definitely not putting too much stock in a Nidorino here. Now, Dragonair is interesting. Yes, my dear. Dragonair is going to be... Okay. Dragonair is going to be a lot more usable in these other metas that have it. So like the Evolution Cup is going to be an obvious one here, but like if we ever get Cancel Cut back again, this is going to be a good place for Dragonair learning Body Slam. Dragonair getting Body Slam just gives it an alternative bait option if it wants to run the Dragon Pulse, or it can run Dragon Pulse, or it can run Aqua Tail with the Body Slam, and it can keep that moveset. So we'll just take a look and see what the typical moveset looks like versus the Aqua Tail moveset. I gotta flip these around because it's not going to show us what we want to see here. So Dragonair, grabbing that Body Slam. Add Body Slam, and what we're going to end up with here is we're going to see what happens. Now, again, it just adds Altaria because it doesn't have the resisted Aqua Tail, but it loses out on Deoxys and Jellicent because it doesn't have the nuke. It doesn't have that extra damage. Deoxys is just because it doesn't have the extra damage from Dragon Pulse. Jellicent it loses because it literally deals nothing but resisted damage with those charge moves. So again, gonna be like limited meta, not something we're looking at in the Open Great League, but it's still good to kind of see what this stuff looks like on the Open Great League. And the last one on this group here is Haunter. So Haunter gets Ice Punch as a bait move. So what I like about Ice Punch as a bait move is that it allows Haunter to be able to go toe-to-toe with a normal type like Vigoroth and just manhandle it. Because if you have, you know, your straight ghost move set like most do, or you might run Sludge Bomb, right? But you got Haunter, you could do a couple of different things with this, and I actually don't mind the double punch line, but we'll just do Shadow Ball and we'll do Ice Punch here, just for the sake of doing a similar move set. But you could certainly do something like Haunter with double punch, and I think we'll just add an Haunter with double punch in here just for the sake of it, just to kind of see what we get. Ice Beam is not the move I'm trying to add here. Hold on. It gets Ice Punch, not Ice Beam. Let me, Alright, so... No, see, now my brain is... This is dad brain at, 11 at night. Ice Punch. Okay, let's check out Ice Punch in the Great League. So, Ice Punch allows it to pick up Mandibuzz, which is really a hard counter matchup for it, which is really interesting to me, honestly. But you don't really gain much else. You lose 4 matchups with the Shadow Ball, and you lose 2 with the Shadow Punch, so... And, you know, it's against Cresselia and Ninetales, which are things you don't really expect to lose with Haunter, too. So, I mean, again, limited metas. That's what this group is all about, right? The limited metas. So, we'll take a minute, go to the next group. Gonna part from these guys because they're less relevant for overall play. But next, what we've got is the Psychic Fang page. So these are all the Pokemon that get Psychic Fangs. And so overall, I'm going to look at just a couple of these because only really 2 of these are really relevant and interesting to me. But very briefly, Arcanine gets it, and it becomes like another Luxray, right? Luxray gets Snarl, which Arcanine has, gets Wild Charge, which Arcanine has, gets Crunch, which Arcanine has, and it also now gets Psychic Fangs, which it has in common with Arcanine as well. So it's going to become kind of like a Luxray type Pokemon, but, you know, Luxray and Arcanine, I don't know if their stats are quite the same, but their stats are pretty, I'd say they're pretty similar. Yeah, they're almost... Arcanine's got a little bit more defense, loses a little bit of HP, and attack is slightly different. So you're adorable. So that's Arcanine. I wouldn't really worry too much about it because it's just like, you know, every other Pokemon that gets Psychic Fangs is going to be reliant on getting the Psychic Fangs bait, and then the nuke move does more damage because you got the bait. So it's going to vary. Your actual field, your mileage is going to vary there. But we're going to look at Espeon's next, and I love Espeon. It's my favorite Pokemon, and I love that they're trying to buff it with movesets. But that's not what it needed. Espeon, its stats are really bad. Like, you thought Arcanine was bad. Look at this Espeon. Look at that thing. It's attack weighted like no other, and its moveset is, it gets confusion for the fast moves, so it's already slow. And it's, you know, you would run maybe Psychic Fangs and Shadow Ball, which is not a bad moveset, unless you're against a Dark type, which is kind of what you want in a Psychic type, is some way to fight back against Dark types, like Cresselia has, you know, or Deoxys with counter, stuff like that. So, Espeon, I'm always going to love Espeon, but unfortunately in Pokemon Go, it's not going to be great. I would love to try and fit it into a team somewhere at some point, because I have to, right? It's like my brand, right? But Steelix, this one's going to be worth talking about. So let's look at Steelix. And the way I want to look at Steelix, right? We'll start in the Great League. So let's take a look at Steelix with Psychic Fangs. So we're going to start with the Crunch Earthquake version, and then we're going to go to the Psychic Fangs. Now, the reason why we like Psychic Fangs is because not only is it cheaper, but it's also a guaranteed defense drop rather than Crunch's chance. Now, the Dark typing is a nice addition to Steelix, but look at this. It gains 5 matchups, 2 of them being Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz walls the charge moves of Steelix, but because of the Psychic Fang debuff, it just takes it to town. Now, it does lose off the Frostlass, Mew, and Umbreon. I'm not sure how it loses Umbreon. That's a weird one to me, but maybe it has something to do with the baits and the baby's falling asleep. She has been fussing for the last 3 hours. All she wanted was to sit and record a video with Dad. Little cutie. But you see how we get some wins here, and for Steelix, you know, winning against Venusaur and Stunfisk and Mandibuzz, like these wins are things that hard wall Steelix, so picking those up is pretty awesome now. But the Ultra League is where I think Steelix is going to shine the brightest here. We've got a Steelix in the Ultra League, level 50 obviously. Ultra Premier is coming back. Get your Steelix ready. Look at this. Look at this. This is glorious. Mandibuzz, Pelipper, Galarian Stunt. Wait a minute, this is still a Great League. What the heck? Hold up. We've still got the... Hold up. Hold up. Your boy screwed up. Let's refill this meta and actually see what happens. Okay. I fixed it. We're good. No losses. It's a strict upgrade for Steelix in the Ultra League. Gets Gyarados, gets Mandibuzz, gets Surfetch, gets G-Fisk. It beats G-Fisk. It beats Toxicroak. And it beats Venusaur. Now, if those aren't some insane wins, I don't know what is. Obviously, I think G-Fisk is obviously, it's going to get to the, it's going to get a, it's one of those Sims that gets a shield with Psychic Fangs and then lands the Earthquake, right? Obviously. But, you know, Surfetched, having to deal with shielding a Psychic Fangs from a Steelix that it's supposed to hard counter sucks. Same with Toxicroak. Venusaur as well. Gyarados probably just can't handle the damage with the Dragon Breath. Aqua Tail's not enough, and those Psychic Fangs make the Dragon Tail damage add up so quickly. And Mandibuzz, the defense drop is just so far, it just takes it so far that the Dragon Tail's probably chunk it really hard. It's just like, it's insane. It is, it's absolutely insane. And it even does better against some of its hard counters, and even if it gets hard countered by a fighter, Steelix then gets the chance to set up for the next thing that comes in with those defense drops. They just farm it down and you're good. And you're just rocking and rolling. Not that Steelix is a rock type because Onix is the rock type, but you get my point. Alright, Manectric is going to be, again, Arcanine and Luxray Syndrome. Manectric can one-shot so many things because it has Overheat and Wild Charge, but it gets Psychic Fangs, which is nice. Again, it's a debuffing bait move that allows it to essentially weaken things, soften them up, bait shields, and then if you can land an Overheat or a Wild Charge, that's basically just a one-shot right there waiting to happen. But Manectric is very frail, and it doesn't really help it as a raid attacker, is because obviously you have the Mega, and then Steelix, obviously if you're using Steelix as a raid attacker, Psychic Fangs is not the way to go. This is strictly PvP stuff, but Manectric is not going to be benefiting from Psychic Fangs as much. I think that you're probably just better off running double nukes and just getting shields guaranteed like that. Just my opinion, but you know, somebody will make it work. Somebody will do some cool stuff. I think Manectric could probably use a better, like these things that get Psychic Fangs, like these defense dropping moves. What they need is a good fast move that does damage. You know, Dragon Tail being a perfect example of something that does damage, right? Confusion even for Espeon. Snarl is not a move that I would be picking to pair with a Psychic Fangs kind of move. So that's just my opinion, right? Swoobat coming in and getting absolutely nowhere with Psychic Fangs. The Swoobat, unfortunately, will pop up in the rankings so we can take a look at some of these and their movesets too. Swoobat, unfortunately, has terrible move syndrome. Just like Espeon, it has confusion. It also gets Air Slash, so not the worst. Its stats are okay. It's not super bulky, but it's got some health to it, so it's got some stamina. But its moveset currently is Aerial Ace, Psychic, and Future Sight. So it's got Psychic Nukes, which would obviously go away in place of Psychic Fangs, probably. And you're running Aerial Ace, which feels so bad. It's just such a bad move. What they need to do is we need to get buffs and readjustments to some of these bad moves like Aerial Ace, Bulldoze. You know, those moves need to be readjusted. But Girafarig is going to be our last Psychic Fangs recipient, and it also gets Double Kick, which is an excellent segue into the next section, which is, spoiler alert, the Double Kick section. So Girafarig is going to be getting a double buff moveset, which I think is really interesting here. And the reason why I say that is because Girafarig's charge move pool is not bad. Girafarig gets it gets Psychic, it gets Thunderbolt, it also gets near coat you, and you can get one with return if you have a shadow. What we're going to look at here is a Girafarig. And this thing is going to be just a gigantic plus. It also gets tackle, which is stab, so if you want to run not double kick but you want to go for like stab tackle, also definitely not a bad move there. But we're going to throw double kick in here, and we're going to throw psychic fangs in here, and we're going to see what this does for the Girafarig based off of the meta that we have been used to for so long. Obviously, I wouldn't even say right now because it's not even the same right now, but that's okay. We enjoy new stuff, right? But like, look at all just the major difference that this makes. Allows Girafarig to reliably beat things like Bastiodon, Lickitung, Ninetales, all Ninetales, can beat Pelipper because of the Thunderbolt, can beat Politoed because of the Thunderbolt, Scrafty, Swampert, Talonflame, Trevenant, Walrein. Look at all the things that Girafarig can beat now. That is insane. No, its win-loss record is still pretty bad for Open Great League, but in a limited meta or in, I mean, honestly, Open Great League, it's really kind of not bad. Like, yeah, obviously it has losses like everything else, but it's not that terrible. Obviously, it will now lose to Azumarill, Cofagrigus, and Venusaur because of that, which is kind of interesting because Cofagrigus is a Ghost type, and then being a normal type, it resists the damage, but the Dark Pulse is probably what it does. No, it's Psychic. It doesn't even, I don't know. Probably just too bulky for it. Venusaur probably outpaces it, plus it, the resistant double kick damage. Ooh, excuse me. Late videos here. The resisted damage from double kick probably doesn't help it too much. And then we've also got Azumarill, which it's Azumarill. Who knows? It's freaking Azumarill. So let's talk about these double kickers. So Nidoking, and again, some of these I can kind of breeze through, right? Because the stats are just bad. Nidoking, just like Nidorino, bad stats, and didn't need a new fast move. What it needed was a good bait charge move like Poison Fang or something like that to allow it to have an energy efficient bait move that isn't like Sand Tomb. It has Fury Cutter already. It has Poison Jab already. It doesn't need a better fast move is what I'm trying to get at here. So mostly going to be just maybe a meta relevant, you know, a limited meta relevant thing, but it's just Spice. Nidoking is Spice because it's too frail. Just like Hitmonlee. Hitmonlee is unfortunately just suffers from bad stat syndrome, and it also has Stone Edge and Close Combat as its preferred charge move set, which is not going to be very helpful for it to really do anything other than maybe grab shields and debuff itself. I'm not digging it, man. Lopunny though gets double kick, and that as a mega Pokemon actually helps it because it gives it a stab fast move for raids, which is cool. But Lopunny's charge move pool is Fire Punch, Hyper Beam, and Focus Blast. Now, a thought I had as I was driving to work this morning is, man, this thing seems like it could be good for Celestial Cup. So again, if you're into factions, maybe it's time to build that Lopunny because Focus Blast is nothing to sneeze at, and it's got Fire Punch, which is an excellent bait move, has some good coverage on the meta that, you know, it can be in. Like, you know, the Bug Steels don't like Fire Punch. There's a few things that don't like Fire Punch, but also just the threat of Focus Blast is always something that you have to watch out for. So we can take a quick look at it too. I mean, I don't mind. Let's take a look at Lopunny, right? Lopunny getting low kick in the first place, and now it's going to get double kick. And I know this is a strict upgrade because low kick is a terrible move, and pound is even worse. But adding double kick to Lopunny here, it's not going to, you know, make giant waves in the Open Great League, but it gains so many matchups just by having a better fast move. So like all of a sudden now it could be really relevant in a limited meta. And I also think it needs to be an XL Hundo, so keep that in mind. You'll also want to be best buddying it. But taking a look at this, it also adds some, you know, decent matchups. We get Walrein, Umbreon, G-Fisk, Snorlax, Greedent, Empoleon. These are actually meta relevant things. Now, before the new fast move, it literally got one win in the entire Open Ultra League because Scizor is double weak to Fire Punch. That's literally the only win it would get. Now it gets some more wins. So again, it's not great. It's going to be a limited meta, probably a factions kind of thing that like if you really want to spend that dust. But I mean, Lopunny is still going to be dangerous. You could meme around with Lopunny. You really could. It's pretty bulky too. Like you could take a look at the stats. It's got some bulk to it. My boy Incineroar continues to get shafted. Double kick is not the move it wanted. Now let's think about it, right? Like we can even look at the fast move damage from Snarl, and remember that Incineroar does get stab damage to Snarl. So Snarl's 5 damage and 13 energy, right? Double kick is going to be the same amount of turns, but it's going to do 8 damage and give you 12 energy. So it's 1 less energy for potentially maybe 1 more damage after the stab boost. So it's really a wash, to be honest. It's really just going to be coverage. If you're really expecting it to be, you know, up against things that are weak to fighting, that suddenly, that suddenly becomes a lot more worth it. I'm going with her. After we're done with this, I'm going straight to sleep, man. Double kick could be a coverage move, honestly, but it's not going to be anything meta breaking. Incineroar, really, it does have mostly like nuke-ish moves. Like Flame Charge is its cheapest move along with Dark Pulse. That's a pretty expensive move at like I think like 50 energy, so not what it needed, but maybe it'll get used. I don't know. I wish they would give it Incinerate, honestly. That's what I wish, but we'll see. Maybe someday. Dubwool gets double kick, and Dubwool also gets a buff from Tackle. Let's talk about Dubwool. Dubwool is going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of this moveset update because its charge moveset is insane. Tackle, Body Slam, Wild Charge. Also has access to Payback, making it an efficient option to deal with ghost types. Giving it Double Kick gives it a way to gain energy much quicker than if it were to have just Tackle. But Tackle also being a Lick Cloud means it gets to these charge moves at a reasonable pace, right? It's a whole extra energy per turn. Think about Dragon Breath gets there pretty quick too. So we'll just take a look at Body Slam, Wild Charge, add Double Kick, and see just what happens with Dubwool in the Great League, right? As long as I remember to put this in the right league. All right, so Dubwool literally gains all of this. I'm not going to list them all. Just take a look at the screen. That's so many matchups. It literally gains 20 matchups by getting Wild Charge. Payback would allow it more efficient ability to deal with ghosts, but I mean, honestly, it gains Cofagrigus, it gains Jellicent, it gains, what other ghosts are in there? Maybe those are the only ones. But that's it, man. That's all you need. That's really all you need. And once we get the Tackle buff in here, I can sim it with Tackle too, but like Dubwool is just, it's gonna be insane. Now, if you have a Hundo Dubwool, you could get the 300 XLs you need and take that thing all the way up to the Ultra League, where, honestly, I think it's even better. It does lose some matchups somehow. Between having Tackle and having Double Kick, somehow it loses Politoed, Sylveon, Tapu Fini, and Togekiss. Probably because 3 of those are fairies and resist the Double Kick damage. And Politoed, I'm not really sure how it loses to Politoed with Wild Charge, but maybe it's just the bulk of Politoed or the spamminess of Politoed. But we're not worried about all those losses. Look at all the wins it picks up. It suddenly goes from being 6 for 44 in the Open Ultra League to 23 for 27. And that's not even talking about Payback. So what if we add Payback into the mix, right? Maybe we want Payback because that's a better coverage option against the ghost types. Makes it really solid against ghost types, right? Then it suddenly goes from 4 for 46 to 26 for 24. It has a winning record in the entire Ultra League, and it only loses the 3 fairies, which... Are you really worried about the fairies in the first place? Like, it's a normal type. It's got, you know, Double Kick. Maybe if you got Tackle on it, maybe that changes. But this is exciting. This is exciting. So, Dragonite is a big winner here. And what happens with Dragonite is it gets Superpower. Now, I'm not going to look at the Sims and stuff because it's a new move. We already know that Dragonite's amazing in its own right. But what Superpower allows it to do is it allows it to fight back against the Steel and Ice types and threaten shields, which means in Master League, in Ultra League, and even in Great League, some certain metas, Dragonite with Superpower is going to be insanely scary. You think you're hard countering it with a Steel type, but you actually have to get slapped with a Superpower instead. So gonna be something to watch out for, especially if you play in Master League or in the Ultra League Premier Cup Classic that's coming up. Dragonite's going to be in that cup for sure, especially with the slight nerf to Walrein. Ledian being the last one in this group here. Ledian is really good because it's super bulky. You know, Bug Bite, we've dealt with Bug Bite with Arachnid, so it's not a great fast move, but it's something. And it gets Silver Wind, and it also now gets Dynamic Punch, which gives it, similar to Dragonite, the ability to fight back against rock types and steel types that would otherwise wall the little ladybug here. But, you know, it's not going to be something that allows it to overtake a ton of matchups. It's going to be mostly something that allows Ledian to just have, you know, a bit more safety. And a bit more, like, I think I might still run my Ledian with Bug Buzz. I don't trust I don't trust what's happening with Silverwind right now in order to actually think about it, but Dynamic Punch will add some maneuverability to your Ledian that allows it to, in the Great League, allow it to fight back against steel types. It still gets clapped by Bastion, and it actually loses loses one more matchup. It loses Trevenant when you get rid of Aerial Ace and put in Dynamic Punch. And it doesn't really gain anything else. So this is going to be a limited meta option. It's going to be something to just surprise your opponent with, hey, here's a Dynamic Punch that does really not much damage because Ledian is very defense weighted. It has very, very high bulk. Right here, you can see the stat weight here. Next group. Only 36 minutes in. If you're still in here, thank you so much for sticking with me. We've only got a couple more groups left to do, but these are probably going to be the most important ones of them all. So we're going to start off with the Fairy Wind recipients here. So I'm not going to talk too much about Galarian Rapidash, right? Galarian Rapidash got Fairy Wind, but it also has Psycho Cut already. So it's just a typing side grade. Nothing really game breaking for that. It's just another way to farm something down with fairy type moves. It's nice to have it. Galarian Weezing is one of the biggest winners out of this entire update. Going from the bottom of the barrel, having Tackle, and it just god-awful. It's held back by no fast moves. Now Galarian Weezing suddenly skyrockets into the limelight here because it now has Fairy Wind. Now, having Fairy Wind allows this thing to get to its charge moves in a reasonable period now. It gets Overheat and Play Rough. This thing screams Safe Swap to me. It can hit back against steel types with the Overheat, and that's insane to me. So we're going to take a look at Weezing. And the way I want to look at Weezing is in the Great League, we're going to look at it again with the old moveset with Tackle. Obviously, we know it's going to gain a ton of matchups, but I want to see which ones, because you can see which wins it picks up just by using this moveset. We're going to change Sludge. Sludge is really bad. We don't want to use it. Sludge is like same energy as Surf, but for like 20 less damage. It's really that bad. But Galarian Weezing, add Fairy Wind, and we'll give it Overheat. And I've seen this simulations enough. I know how this goes. This is going to be really insane. Look at this. Look at all the wins it gets. It goes from being 0 for 47. In the one shields, old Galarian Weezing would literally not win against anything in the entire Open Great League. But now it's 20 for 27. It picks up 20 wins. And some of those being Altaria from being a fairy, Arachnid. You get Deoxys defense because it double resists those counters and doesn't take super effective damage from anything but the Psycho Boost. You know, fighters mostly. Mandibuzz, you know, Darks and fighters are going to be the ones that get to deal with this. Registeel is a win. Sableye is a win. Scrafty's a win here because of the obviously poison fairy typing kind of bones Scrafty, but stuff like Venusaur, Victory Belt, Wigglytuff, like these are some promising things. And even G-Fisk does have to fear the Overheat. I did sim that matchup. I think it lives with like 3 HP. It's actually kind of nuts. So you could threaten shields with an Overheat on Galarian Weezing and just, it's nuts. So we'll take a look at the Ultra League, which is where I think that Galarian Weezing is going to do the most work, because I can't stop yawning. Because with your should check this to Shadow. because with your Galarian Weezing, look at this. Look at all those matchups it gets. Galarian Weezing in the Ultra League, it has to be essentially almost level 50, but it goes 30 for 20. 30 for 20 in the Open Ultra League. It is now a hugely winning Pokemon by just the move Fairy Wind just does so much for this thing. It allows it now to force shield or beat things like Nidoqueen and even some of its hardest counters. They really have to be afraid of the overheat. So unless it's like a water type or something that resists fire and fairy, you're gonna have a great time running this thing. It picks up so many wins. I'm not even gonna list them all. You can just see them all. I'm sold on it. I'm gonna build one. It's coming back in raids, by the way. Galarian Weezing is rotating into the raid pool with the new season. So if you want to get a Galarian Weezing or trade some with your friends to get good IVs, now's a good time to do it. At 10 a.m. the raids will roll over local time tomorrow or today, because I'm not releasing this video until tomorrow because I do have to do a little bit to it first, but essentially, you can get your Galarian Weezings and trade them with your friends and get good Great League IVs, hopefully. So that's going to be a really good opportunity to get those and those XLs if you haven't already. The next one on the list is Jumpluff. So Jumpluff is actually, it gets a straight upgrade. It's not even a side grade. I originally thought it was a side grade, but I was wrong. Jumpluff gets, it's just a strict upgrade here because the energy gain is actually better than Bullet Seed, which is kind of crazy. And even though Bullet Seed is grass and stab, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. In Great League, this thing will actually win more matchups because of the energy gains from Fairy Wind not even having a bait move. It does gain Alolan Marowak and Medicham, which are two really huge pickups for it, considering Medicham has the Ice Punch and Alolan Marowak just straight up walls it almost. So being able to get to those moves that much quicker is really huge for Jumpluff. So that's going to be interesting. Now, Mawile is going to be really interesting as well. I like Mawile because it gives it a new dimension of play, right? Mawile has always been the Fang fast move with Power Up Punch and a Play Rough or Iron Head, right? Based on the meta you're in. Now you can go with Fairy Wind on Mawile and play both Iron Head and Play Rough for the coverage, and I think that that's amazing because it gives a whole new dimension to this Pokemon that in the past was really not used for anything other than fast move pressure. So you can still play the Pokemon like this, but you do lose the Cresselia, Registeel, and Skarmory matchups because you're not hitting them with the Fire Fangs and just farming things down. But you gain things like Azumarill, Frostlass, Medicham, Obstagoon, Sableye, and Scrafty. I think those are much more worth than getting, you know, losing Registeel, Skarmory, and Cress. And Cress you don't see in the Open Great League much anyway. But picking all those up to just drop Registeel and Skarmory is huge. I mean, I think so anyway. But so if you're gonna play your Mawile, I think the Shadow Mawile stays as the fast move pressure because that's just what benefits the Shadow so much more. But with the added bulk of having the non-Shadow version allows this Pokemon to really be an energy machine, and that extra bulk means it's going to get to more charge moves, which is what it needs to do. So if you're going to play this new version of Mawile, definitely would recommend not going with the Shadow version personally. Just my 2 cents, right? Florges has Vine Whip already, so it's not going to be benefiting from Fairy Wind hugely. Yes, Fairy Wind is going to be a strictly better move for it. Loses that grass type coverage, but the charge moves, like, you're not getting any extra coverage for it. It's still going to do essentially the same thing, just can't farm down Swampert anymore. Slurpuff, now I like Slurpuff, right? The reason why I like Slurpuff is I want you to look at these charge moves. Flamethrower, Energy Ball, has Draining Kiss, and Play Rough as well. So you have a diverse move pool here. Slurpuff is fairly bulky and has really good coverage, so just giving it a move that allows it to get to these charge moves without having to farm something all the way down before it can do that is really nice. But I want to spend the time here. We're going to talk about Miltank and Dunsparce. Miltank and Dunsparce are two of the biggest winners out of this update because Miltank got Rollout and it's getting the tackle buff as well. So it's got essentially two different ways in order to deal with doing fast moves to the opponent. Now we'll just focus on Rollout because that's going to be the most common one. Plus, you know, Whitney's Miltank gave us all PTSD by using Rollout over and over and over again. And you're going to want to run Ice Beam to deal with Trevenant in the Great League. So Miltank, probably should have added the Miltank that had Tackle first. So we're gonna do a little swap ski here. Gonna add Rollout to the second one, and then that's just because the way that it displays on the bottom. If I were to switch these, it would just basically tell me what matchups the Tackle one loses, which looks a lot worse when you look at it that way. Miltank gains so many matchups just by getting Rollout. It's insane. You've probably already looked into this, but 18 for 29 in the Open Great League, and being able to tangle with things like Talonflame and Stunfisk, Sableye, Walrein, Whiscash, Victory Bell, Pelipper, these things that it can, Drapion, Lickitung, these things are actually really good pickups for Miltank, make it a really stable force in the meta. But I think what's even more exciting than Miltank, it has to be Dunsparce, I think. Dunsparce picks up some of the most impressive wins in the entire Great League, in my opinion. And why? Well, you're going to see that in just a second once I get these moves entered here. Rollout on Dunsparce picks up things like the Registeel matchup. It'll pick up Sableye. I don't know why. Registeel is not on here. That's tragic. I know it picks up Registeel. Yeah, it wins against Registeel, but I guess it's because it already wins against Registeel. Okay, fair. So it already wins against Registeel. Beats Sableye now. Beats Stunfisk. Beats Walrein. Beats Pelipper. The only thing it loses to is Cresselia. Okay, that's fine. I don't see those in Open Great League that often anyway. Beats Mandibuzz. Beats Galvantula. Beats Drapion. Beats Altaria. Beats Alolan Ninetales. Both versions. It picks up wins because it's got the charge move of Drill Run and Rock Slide. Getting these Rollout means that it's going to get there in like 4, 4, 3, I think is the count. It would probably be about that. It's an insane move. It helps it so much, and it picks up so many wins. And Dunsparce is going to be a super interesting pick going forward in the Open Great League, and also the metas that allow it. Final group, the last ones, the home stretch. We're at 46 minutes. This is a long video. This is longer than the first time I took it, I think. We'll talk about these, right? So Golisopod, real quick, suffers from charge move problems. Shadow Claw is nice for Golisopod, but it doesn't solve the fact that it has X-Scissor, Aqua Jet, who knows what else. It's just not good. Kanto Marowak got Rock Slide. Kanto Marowak getting Rock Slide is great because it allows it to hit back against Ice types and Flyers, but it only has Mud Slap as its fast move, and then it has Bone Club and Earthquake as its charge move, other options. So, it's a fringe play kind of thing. Maybe it'll get some use somewhere. Nihilego getting Poison Jab, though, that's huge for the Master League, and I wish they had said something about it before the raid day, because people might have actually gone to raid for it. That would have been nice to know. Camerupt getting Incinerate. Kind of hammering these off here, but Camerupt getting Incinerate. We'll talk about Camerupt real quick, because it can be used in the Great League and the Ultra League. And I think it's worth noting because Camerupt is going to play a little bit like the Ho-Oh, in that Camerupt has nuke moves. There's Power Overheat. Doesn't have any good bait moves. So against the Great League, it does gain some matchups. Somehow it ends up losing Frostlass. It's probably because of the speed of which Ember versus Incinerate happens, and the charge moves don't help it. So it's really not a great upgrade. But let's check out the Ultra League just to see what it's like, because the Hundo does fit in nicely under 2,500. Gains a few more wins, and we're still looking at the wrong meta. Hold on. That's going to do better. All right. Gains 2 wins. Alone Muck and Obstagoon. Camerupt's not good. Don't do it. It's going to be good for it having a Mega. I think that Incinerate's going to be good for the Mega, but definitely not for regular Camerupt PvP. Lantern is the next one on the list here. Lantern is one of the biggest winners of all. Having Surf added to its move pool takes it from fringe limited meta to it belongs in the Open Great League meta. Now, I'm going to continue to do this wrong all night, but we're going to look at Lantern in the Great League, and then we'll even take a look at the Hundo in Ultra League and see how that stacks up to it. Because I think Lantern is going to be worth it. A lot of you already have a Lantern built, which is good. It's been in metas before. You stick a TM on it instead of Hydro Pump. Now you've got a cheaper water move in Surf. Well, let's see what happens. It's a strict upgrade for Lantern, and it picks up Bastiodon, Cofagrigus, Medicham, Obstagoon, Sableye, Walrein. Those are some amazing matchups to pick up in the Open Great League. Some of the most common things in the Great League. So yeah, Lantern is definitely going to be in the Open Ultra or Open Great League now for sure. So speaking of that Ultra League though, let's check it out real quick. Just going to change these things around. Check out Ultra League, pop it open, and now suddenly this is not a bad Pokemon to have. It only gains 2 wins. Melmetal and Umbreon, not going to be super popular picks anymore in the Ultra League, but having a 20 for 30 record is still pretty good, I think. So the next one on the list is Tentacruel. Tentacruel getting Scald gives it what we've all been hoping that Tentacruel would get, which is a cheaper water move, just like Lantern. Doesn't have to deal with its only water damage coming from Hydro Pump anymore. Now it can use Scald. And why is that huge for Tentacruel? Because it already has the Acid Spray Poison Jab. It just needed a cheaper water move to threaten things with to make it actually useful in the meta. So Great League is now going to become a Tentacruel fest in which it actually... See, the Sims are not kind to Tentacruel because obviously the Sims are going to get skewed by getting successful bait with an Acid Spray and then landing a double debuffed Hydro Pump. That's why there's some losses here. But practically speaking, Tentacruel is definitely better from having Scald. It's not going to be high meta like Lantern was, but it's definitely going to be something to keep your eye on, especially in maybe like Halloween Cup or something. And kind of similarly in this Ultra League meta, it loses these matchups because it's not getting that successful bait with Acid Spray and landing the Hydro Pump. But there's one more Pokemon we're talking about today. So last year, right around this time, they gave Cofagrigus Shadow Claw. Now, its successor, Runerigus, gets Shadow Claw as well. Now, the reason why Runerigus is huge is because Runerigus is not all nuke moves like its friend. Man, English is hard. It's not going to be just all nuke moves like Cofagrigus. It has bait moves in Rock Tomb and Sand Tomb. And the thing about those is that they are not only bait moves, but they are also debuff moves. So I think that the best way to play a Runerigus is probably going to be with the Sand Tomb rather than Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb is going to be able to hit those Pokemon, those flyers like Talonflame, but it's really not going to be something that you're going to want to use for the most part. I much prefer the stab damage that comes from Sand Tomb, just because it seems better to me. But look at this. We go from 8 for 39 to 25 for 22. We get a winning record in the Open Great League. The ground typing is going to be huge for Runerigus, and the fact that it is also able to do more damage over time because of Sand Tomb. That's kind of insane. Some of the wins it picks up also, like Registeel is a good one. Vigoroth is now going to be a shoe-in. It probably doesn't beat Trevenant because of Seed Bomb, but still going to be pretty insane. It also beats Cofagrigus because it has the ability to bait Alolan Marowak, Alolan Ninetales, Kanto Ninetales, Swampert. It beats Swampert in the one shields by landing that, by getting a shield with the Sand Tomb and landing that Shadow Ball, so that's also insane. Let's take a look at the Ultra League because I think that's where Runerigus is also going to be really good. Runerigus gains all these matchups. It's crazy. Goes 25 for 25 in the Open Ultra League. Gonna gain things like Giratina Origin and Giratina Altered, Escavalier, Cofagrigus in the Ultra League. Alolan Muck is also a loss because of that Sand Tomb damage. Nidoqueen, also a hard loss. It hard walls both Nidoqueen and Registeel, which is really awesome. If you're going to build a Runerigus for anything, do it to hardwall the Registeels, please. That's the only reason I'm going to do it. It's going to take me till next season at least to get the XLs for it. I'll have to wait till after the Halloween event most likely, but that's still just... Runerigus is going to be really good. Just like Cofagrigus, I think it's even better, honestly. But y'all, it's been a long video. It's 54 minutes in. I'm going to clock out and go to bed. I think that we have gone through everything that we could possibly go through. Thank you so much for sitting through this video if you already have, and I really hope that it helped. I really hope it helps you prep for the next season and where to put that Stardust, because just like you, I've only got so much, and I need to know where to spend it wisely, and I think we're going to be set. This season's going to be fantastic, and I hope that you'll be sticking along with the ride with me. Now, if you've been here this long, I might as well plug the Patreon server where I'm talking about all this stuff ad nauseum in the Discord already with these Patreons of mine. Thank you guys so much for your support as well. You guys are the first people to know about this stuff when it comes out from me, and also, if you're looking to, maybe improve, maybe you want to hit Legend this season, maybe you want to hit Expert for the first time, or hit Ace for the first time even, heck. Doesn't matter where it is. If it's a first time for you, it's a milestone, and that's amazing. I do offer coaching services via Metafy. In the description in this video, there's a link to both the Patreon and the Metafy. Go ahead and check those out if they're your kind of thing. Be happy to have you in the group. Happy to, take you on as a student once or twice, however many you'd like to do it. But anyway, no more rambling for me. I'm going to bed. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.